For me, home was the same as safety, that it was a place you built, not just with walls and furniture, but with boundaries, respect, and love. I spent years believing that, until my husband's family taught me otherwise. It started, as so many tragedies do, with a funeral. Jack's father passed away in late spring, and the grief hit him hard. I was patient, supportive, held his hand through the hospital paperwork, and helped his mother, Raylyn, organize the reception afterward. She seemed devastated, quiet, frail, like a woman who'd just lost her anchor. A few days later, Jack approached me while I was watering the plants on our back patio. "Mom's not doing great," he said. "She says the house feels empty." Every room reminds her of Dad. She asked if she could stay with us for a while. I turned off the hose. "For how long?" "Just until she figures things out. A couple of weeks, maybe our guest room was currently used for storage and doubling as my sewing space." But I nodded. I wasn't heartless. "Sure," I said, "as long as it's temporary." That was my first mistake. Raylyn moved in by the end of the week. Jack cleared the guest room. I relocated all my fabric bins and supplies to the hallway closet. My mom offered to help Raylyn settle in, but she brushed her off with a distant smile. "I've got it. Just need some time to adjust." At first it was fine. She was quiet, polite even. Occasionally thanked me for dinner, though it was always followed by something passive-aggressive. "This stew is nice," she said one evening. "We used to eat this kind of thing when money was tight." Simple, but nostalgic. My mother said nothing, just picked at her bowl. I gave a tight smile and changed the subject. Raylyn smiled right back, like we were playing poker and I just folded too early. But the real shift happened when Lindsay arrived. I got home from a client meeting and saw her bright yellow convertible parked in our driveway. Inside, I found 2 massive suitcases in the foyer and a yoga mat rolled out in the living room. Lindsay, Jack's older sister, stood barefoot in leggings and a sports bra sipping from a green smoothie. "Hey," she beamed. "I'm here." "I see that," I said. "What's going on?" "Mom said she's been feeling isolated. And, obviously she needs support right now, so I figured I'd just stay for a bit and help out." "Stay here?" "Of course here. Where else?" Before I could respond, Jack came around the corner holding a folded towel. "It's just for a few days," he said quickly. "She'll take the office." "It's fine." The office was my workspace. I looked at him, but he avoided my eyes. Within 24 hours, Lindsay had taken over the kitchen island with protein powder jars, multivitamin packs, and a Bluetooth speaker that blasted motivational podcasts every morning. She never helped with meals, left mugs half full on the coffee table, constantly made subtle jabs at my mom. "Your mom watches a lot of TV. It's kind of sad. She crochets while she watches. She should go outside more. Sunlight's good for mental health." Meanwhile, Raylyn had morphed into a woman I barely recognized. She no longer said thank you. She started ordering food deliveries on my account. And worst of all, she started siding with Lindsay. Every evening, the 2 of them would sit on the couch whispering and laughing behind their wine glasses. "I heard Luna makes you do your own laundry," Lindsay once said to Raylyn. "That's just cruel." "Oh, she's got systems," Raylyn replied. "It's her house after all." She looked right at me and smiled. And Jack? He kept shrinking. Every time I brought it up, he muttered that he'd talk to them, but nothing ever changed. "Maybe they just need time," he said one night. "They're not grieving. They're nesting," I said. "There's a difference." I came home one Friday afternoon and stopped cold in the hallway. My mother's belongings, her knitting basket, her comforter, her books, were stacked neatly in the hallway. The guest room door was wide open. Lindsay was lying on the bed, scrolling through her phone. Raylyn stood by the window, sipping chamomile tea like she owned the view. "What is this?" I asked. Lindsay sat up. "We did some rearranging. Mom's been feeling achy, so she'll take the master bedroom." "I'm in here. We moved your mom's stuff to the utility room." I stared at them. "It's 4 square meters, Raylyn said casually. "It's not ideal, but it's something." "Be grateful," Lindsay grinned. "It's cozy." "Like a dorm room?" "You're kidding." "We tried to make it comfortable," Raylyn added. "We even found a folding cot." "This is our home," I said, my voice low. "Mine and my mother's. You don't get to rearrange it like a hotel room. Jack said it was okay." I turned. He was standing at the foot of the stairs, frozen. His face looked pale. Jack? I didn't say it like that, he muttered. I didn't know they were going to move her things. You didn't stop them either, I said. Lindsay stood up. Look, Luna. We get that this is hard for you, but let's be honest. You don't even use the utility room. It's storage. Now it's functional, I see, I said. Raylan took a sip of her tea. If it's really a problem, you're welcome to leave. I looked at my mom's comforter folded by the door. My throat felt like it had filled with ash. Okay, I said. Lindsay blinked. Okay, what? We'll move. Jack stepped forward. Luna. I walked past them all, quietly, calmly, and climbed the stairs. In our bedroom, my mom was sitting on the edge of the bed with her knitting needles in hand. They said we can have the utility room, I said, my voice even. She gave a short laugh. Ah, so they're that bold now. I said we'd move. She nodded. Good. We began folding clothes in silence. That night, as Raylan and Lindsay clinked wine glasses in the kitchen, I sat at my desk with a locked drawer open. Inside was the deed. Just my name on it. Not Jack's. Not theirs. I stared at the paper for a long time, then picked up my phone and dialed the realtor's number. Hi, Gloria, I said. You mentioned a couple was interested last month. Is that offer still on the table? The next morning, Raylan made pancakes. It was the first time she'd cooked anything since she moved in, and the smell of butter and maple syrup should have felt warm. Instead, it was intrusive, like a stranger hosting brunch in your own kitchen. Jack sat at the table, trying not to look at me. Lindsay wore one of my silk robes and commented loudly about how she'd never slept better. My mom quietly ate a granola bar on the edge of her cot in the utility room, pretending not to hear any of it. Raylene poured syrup and said with faux sweetness, I think this new arrangement suits everyone. Less tension. More space. Peaceful. I smiled. I'd already signed the preliminary paperwork that morning. That afternoon, I told Jack. We were folding laundry in our bedroom. He was quiet. Too quiet. His eyes heavy and worn. I need to tell you something, I said. He looked up. The house is in my name. You know that, he nodded slowly. And I've accepted an offer. The house is being sold. The buyer's doing a fast close. 2 weeks. His brow furrowed. You sold the house? I did. He sat down on the bed, stunned. You didn't think to ask me? You didn't think to stop them, I replied, folding a pillowcase. That's not fair. No, I said. It's not. He dropped his face into his hands. What am I supposed to tell them? Tell them the truth. That they picked the wrong woman to bully. He didn't respond, and to his credit, he didn't argue. The next day, Lindsay showed up in the living room with a roll of architectural drawings and a grin that made my skin crawl. I've got a surprise, she announced. We're renovating. My mom looked up from her knitting, and I froze halfway through washing a teacup. Lindsay unrolled the drawings onto the dining table. I talked to a friend of mine. He's in design school, and we came up with a floor plan that'll really modernize the space. You know, better flow, more openness. And we're converting the back room into a private suite for Mom. She looked right at me. For Raylan, I mean. She deserves comfort in her golden years. And who's paying for all this? I asked calmly. She blinked innocently. You, of course. You've got great taste, a stable income, and honestly, Jack says you're a saver. I glanced at Jack, who looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Did you give her access to our finances? I asked. He shook his head. No, of course not. She's just guessing, my mom murmured. Lindsay ignored her. Anyway, this is really for your mom's benefit too. I mean, she's older. She could use a space that's, safer, accessible. Maybe something with grab bars in the bathroom. We're being generous. I looked at the plans. They did include an open concept hallway, some accessibility features, but none of it included a room for my mom. She had simply been erased. And where exactly is my mother meant to sleep? I asked. Oh, the utility room's fine, right? Lindsay chirped. You've already moved in there. Why fix what isn't broken? Raylan entered at that moment, holding her tablet. I've been looking into senior living communities, she said, with the same tone someone might use to describe vacation resorts. Independent living with optional support. I think I'm ready for that phase of life. My mom gave a dry laugh. So now you want to leave? Raylan smiled tightly. It's not about wanting. It's about necessity, and I'll pay for it myself. With what money? I asked. Raylin hesitated. Lindsay chimed in. Well, she'll work, of course. I'm job hunting too. We're not freeloaders. You've been living here for weeks rent-free, using our utilities, eating my food. But that was family, Lindsay said, like the word justified theft. This is different. This is us stepping up. Jack looked genuinely confused. Why the change of heart? I was wondering the same thing. The answer came that evening. I overheard them in the hallway, Lindsay whispering behind the door. We push a little harder, she might cave. She's probably scared we'll sue or something. If we act like we're making amends, she'll let her guard down. Raylin. That woman wouldn't survive 5 minutes without control. We play nice, then finish the remodel, and she'll walk. Lindsay. I want this house. It has potential. That was all I needed to hear. 2 days later, a moving truck parked discreetly behind the house. My mom and I packed only what mattered. My fabric, her books, our keepsakes. Raylin and Lindsay didn't notice. We staggered the boxes in closet corners and trunk spaces. The house still looked lived in. That was important. The final piece came the day before the closing. I walked into the kitchen and found Lindsay grinning smugly. There's a surprise for you in the hallway closet. My mom and I exchanged a look. We opened the door. Inside were our clothes, suitcases, neatly packed. A folded note on top read, You and your mom can stay in the storage room until you figure things out. Room's a room. Be grateful. Jack found us sitting on the couch with the letter on the coffee table. His face drained. Oh, God. Too late, I said. They don't realize it, but they've already moved into someone else's house. What does that mean? I handed him the final sale confirmation. His jaw slackened. You finalized it. This morning. We'll be out by noon tomorrow. They'll still be here. They'll freak out. They'll be squatters, my mom added. And if they damage anything, the buyers have the right to press charges. Jack sank into the armchair. You didn't tell me you were doing all this. I gave you chances, I said gently. You just didn't want to see it. Downstairs, Lindsay was blasting music. Raylin yelled up the stairs, Can someone bring me a latte? Jack didn't move. I looked at him. You can come with us. But only if you stop defending people who would throw your wife into a broom closet. He looked up. I'll pack my things. 2 weeks after we moved out, I got a text from Gloria, our realtor. Gloria, 8:12 a.m. Your old place is officially closed. Buyers are thrilled. Furniture arrived this morning. They said the place was almost too clean. That last line made me smile. My mom and I had taken care to leave the house spotless, down to the baseboards. It wasn't for Raylin or Lindsay, it was for us. Closure, in the most literal way. We had already settled into our new apartment in a quiet part of town. Modern, sunlit, ours. No stairs for Mom, no closet quarters, no in-laws treating her like clutter. Jack came with us. I made him sleep on the couch the first week. He didn't complain. He brought groceries, fixed light bulbs, replaced the leaky faucet without being asked. Small things, but consistent. He didn't say sorry in big dramatic speeches. He just showed up and stayed. It didn't undo everything, but it was a start. We were drinking tea when the knock came. Lindsay stood at our door in worn flip-flops and a crease designer hoodie, hair frizzy, eyeliner smudged. Raylin was behind her, pulling an overstuffed suitcase and clutching a plastic bag full of Tupperware. Open the door, Lindsay snapped, pounding with her fist. We need to talk. I glanced at my mom. She shrugged. If you don't let them in, they'll probably scream louder. Fair enough. I opened the door. Neither of them looked like they'd slept in days. You sold the house, Lindsay spat. I did. You sold it without telling us? I didn't owe you a notice. I owned it. You tricked us. Into what? Thinking you were entitled to something you didn't pay for? You tricked yourselves. Raylin stepped forward, face red. There are people moving furniture into our house. My furniture, my cookware, my mattress. It was never your house, I said calmly. And I believe you told me I should be grateful for a room. So now you get to be grateful for the street. Lindsay's voice rose. You knew we were living there. You knew we were renovating. I never approved renovations. You drew up some fantasy floor plan on butcher paper and expected me to fund it. You said nothing. I was too busy finalizing escrow. Raylin's voice cracked. You can't just evict us. You were never tenants. Never owners. You were guests. And then you became invaders. Now you're trespassers. Where are we supposed to go? I blinked slowly. That's not my problem. My mom stood beside me now, arms crossed, her face unreadable. Raylan looked at her. Please, I have arthritis. My back, my knees. Should have thought of that before you tried to shove someone else's mother into a utility room, my mom said flatly. Lindsay was pacing now, her voice rising. Do you have any idea how much money we spent on that kitchen paint? The cabinets? The tile samples? That place was supposed to be ours. Jack appeared behind me, silent. Jack, Raylan said quickly. Tell her this isn't right. That house was going to stay in the family. Jack met her eyes and said, She is my family. Raylan flinched. Lindsay let out a dry, bitter laugh. Oh, please. You're just going along with her because she pays the rent. I held up a hand. Don't worry. This is temporary. Jack and I are separating. I let him stay because he finally started acting like a man. But I'm not stupid. This marriage has an expiration date. Jack didn't argue. Raylan's lip trembled. We made a mistake, okay? But we can fix it. Maybe we all move into a bigger place. Start fresh. You want me to start fresh with you? After you mocked my mom, hijacked my home, and tried to exile us to a closet? Raylan opened her mouth, but my mom cut in. Lindsay, she said sharply, you're a grown woman living off your brother's wife. Raylan, you raised this entitlement. You think the world owes you space and comfort because of your last name. They both fell silent. My mom wasn't loud, but when she got going, her voice could slice glass. I have nothing to prove to either of you, she said. But I'll say this. I raised my daughter to defend what's hers. And she just did. Lindsay's eyes flashed. We'll sue. For what? I said. Selling my own home? Raylan's voice was suddenly thin. I left some of my personal belongings there. You'll need to arrange retrieval with the new owners. If they allow it. We don't even have anywhere to sleep tonight, Lindsay snapped. There's a motel by the freeway, my mom offered with a shrug. Ask for the we got kicked out of someone else's house rate. I started to close the door. Raylan stepped forward. Wait. We're sorry. We wanted some space. That's all. I paused. Now you've got plenty, I said. Enjoy it. Then I shut the door. The silence afterward was golden. No shouting, no banging, just the slow click of boots retreating down the hallway. A week later, Gloria emailed us again. Gloria, 9:01 a.m. Former occupants showed up uninvited at the property. Owners called the police. No damage, but they left behind several garbage bags of junk and a broken toaster. Thought you'd want to know. I forwarded the email to Jack without comment. He replied an hour later. Jack, 10:07 a.m. Mom called me crying, wants to meet. I told her no, I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. We framed the deed, hung it on the wall of our new place, above the sewing table I'd finally set up again. My mom bought a new chair, a new kettle, and a new robe. And every night, before bed, she looked me in the eyes and said, You did good, Luna. And I did.